Hey everyone, I just finished watching the next episode of Street Sharks. Crap, I can't remember what the name of it is. Just a second. Shark Quest. I don't know what I don't really know what the quest is exactly, but alright. I really think they probably should have just ditched the keep shark in the title and just, I don't know, give them titles. It's so hard to remember the titles of the Street Shark movie. It's like Dragon Ball Z movies, the Japanese titles where they're all just like super big fight, explosion, superhero guy fight thing. You can't tell them apart. So even though I watch mostly the Japanese versions, I still use the English titles because they're a little bit more descriptive than the Japanese ones. But anyway, to Street Sharks, the first episode after the premiere has a new theme song, and that is really cool. I really like the new theme song. I especially love the lyric, "They bite, they fight, they stand for everything right." Love that lyric. It's so cool. Anyway, on to the actual plot. The city still hasn't accepted the sharks. We start off with guy in the sky bumps into that Fission City sign, knocks off another letter, just like Toxic Crusaders would do. Yeah, and anyway, he's talking about the traffic, and then we see the sharks come up, and he's like, "Watch out, guys! We got a shark alert!" And then the sharks go up to their vehicles, which are parked on the side of the road for some reason. Yeah, they just leave them there. It's so weird because uh, when they first got them, they like drove out of a garage. So it's not like they don't have somewhere to store them. Whatever. Anyway, they go up to their bikes, and a bunch of kids that were hanging around the bikes suddenly run away, and they're all bummed out because people are still scared of them. Yeah. And so then, let's see. Oh, yeah. Guy in the Sky is on the radio talking about how dangerous the sharks are. And then there's a weird little bit of, I'm wondering if it's meta humor, where Lena, she's listening to the radio and she turns it off. "I don't know why I listen to that ignorant loudmouth. He only makes me mad." And I looked it up. Street Sharks premiered 1994. In 1994, radio shows or talk shows, were kind of a big thing. And two really big names were Rush Limbaugh and Howard Stern. And I'm wondering if this was like a reference from one of the writers or something. Let's see. Okay, this one is also the first episode not written by Martha Morin. Let's see, this episode is written by Douglas Booth, who I don't know off the top of my head. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere because it sounds familiar. I've seen a lot of Deke cartoons. Martha Morin wrote for a lot of other Deke cartoons. I can't remember what off the top of my head. But anyway, back to this. Lena gets a mysterious email message saying that someone plans to contaminate the Fission City reservoir with gene slamming elements. Well, that doesn't sound good. So then we see the sharks going down to Ben's hideout. Oh, and it's now called Shark HQ. Alright. And it looks a lot different than we saw it before. Before, it was like all kind of gray, and it looked like it was all one big room. But now it's like got some browns, there's pipes all over. It's not really as clean looking, and there's some like twisty turny halls in there now. Oh, and it's a lot more cluttered. So yeah, it looks a little bit different. Maybe Ben's little hideout is bigger than we thought. So then there's a really weird bit here where Slamu is all bummed out and he's like, "Why are people afraid of us, Ripster?" And Ripster is like, "Well, Slamu, if you'd watched the previous 3 episodes, you'd know that blah 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 blah, exposition recap, blah blah blah." It's kind of awkward, and like watching these one right after the other makes this all the more obvious. But when I was a kid, I didn't really think about this because basically it was either this or a recap at the beginning of the episode, which is pretty much just dead space because like it's not really story content, it's not really moving anything forward, it's just there to catch you up if you forgot what happened last time. And when I was watching this on TV when I was a kid, It was, these episodes were a week apart. They would air Saturday mornings, I think. You know, I don't remember if Street Sharks was actually on Saturday mornings or not, but whatever. When I got the tape, the first tape, Gene Slamming Begins, came out, and I bought it, or well, my grandparents bought it for me, and then it was like a couple of months later when the second tape came out, which I can't remember the name of. I think that one might have been called Shark Quest. Whatever. So Ripster's little recap thing doesn't feel that awkward, but when you're watching the episodes one right after the other, it is kind of weird that he's basically telling Slammu things that Slammu should already know. Whatever. So then Lena comes in and she tells the sharks about the email she got. The sharks go to check out this treatment plant at the reservoir, and let's see, they dive under the fence, and then they burst right up through the floor. Which at first the floor looked like it was metal, but I guess it was just concrete. So then, oh yeah, then there's a weird bit that I never really got, where they look up at the camera and they like give it like devious they like give it devious grins. All right, that was weird. So then, let's see. Oh yeah, these security guards show up, and I think they're the same security guards from the second episode that Lena distracts. And what's going on? Oh yeah, Ripster unscrews a pipe and blasts water at them. So I'm really hoping that really wasn't contaminated water, Ripster. Especially when, like, Ripster is the one who was planning to take a water sample to study it anyway. He's the one who uses the water to whatever. They escape. And then, oh yeah, there's a transition to the city, and we hear Paradigm's voice, but we don't see him. We see Slash and Slopster, and we hear Paradigm's voice telling them to plant bombs in this department store to frame the sharks. I don't know why they're keeping Paradigm a secret. Like, it's obviously him, but I don't know, maybe as a really little kid it would have surprised me more. Maybe. I don't know. And, oh yeah, then there's a car chase with police chasing the sharks around. Yay. I'm wondering, did somebody behind the scenes just really like police car chases? Is that why we get them to pad out, like, nearly every episode so far? I'm only 4 episodes in, and we've had, like, at least one police chase in every single episode. It's ridiculous. So then Slash and Slopster are planting bombs in the department store, and a security guard sees them on the TV, and he runs out, but first he warns the guy on the top floor, the janitor, "Joe, you gotta get out! The sharks are gonna blow up the store!" But the janitor doesn't hear because he has headphones on. Oh no. And then, let's see. The sharks are out driving. Ripster tells his brothers that he's overheard about the department store thing. They go to check things out. Jab and Slammu get there first, and they hear the security guard telling this police officer there that the janitor is still on the top floor, whatever. And then Jab is like, "We'll get him out." And then the police officer's like, "No way, Street Sharks, you're under arrest." And he puts these giant cuffs on him, which he just happened to have gigantic cuffs, which, I don't know, I guess the sharks are, like, well known now, so they were just thinking ahead and preparing for if they were to encounter them or something. And, anyway, Jab bites through the cuffs because, I mean, the cop really think that he was going to hold them with cuffs. They go into the department store to save the janitor, and then suddenly Dr. Paradigm shows up, and the police officer looks at him. "Dr. Paradigm? We thought you were dead." And he actually says dead, which is so crazy because there's so many cartoons from the 90s and even now where they're not allowed to say dead, like in any context. Even like just crap, what's the word, in like colloquial phrases, like dead tired isn't allowed and silly things like that. It's so weird that they were allowed to just say, "We thought you were dead." But I'm guessing maybe the reason why it was allowed was because he isn't dead, so it's a positive, even though he's the bad guy, so it's a negative. whatever. Oh yeah, Ripster and Streaks see Paradigm alive, and they're shocked about it. Then we see Jab and Slamu, or they get up to the top floor. Jab jumps out a window to break the window. Slamu grabs the janitor, and then a little callback to his football days. He's narrating like a football announcer type of thing to himself as he jumps out. Let's see. And, oh yeah. A SWAT team shows up. They capture Slamu. And then, oh, there's another weird thing. Throughout this whole bit with Paradigm and the police officer, Paradigm's voice kind of fluctuates. And I kept thinking he was going to turn into Paranoid again. But he never does. It always sounds like he's, like, on the edge of going from Paradigm to Paranoid, but he never goes all the way and transforms. So then, meanwhile, Lena receives another mysterious email telling her that Paradigm has converted a former prison into a rehabilitation lab, and that's where he's taken Slamu. So then the Sharks go to Shark HQ from the department store, and we get the weirdest animation error here. There's a weird bit where, let's see, Ripster, he gets off his bike, he's walking forward and slowly off screen while talking to Benz. So then he's talking, and then Streaks is behind him. Ripster's talking, and then as soon as he's off screen, Streaks starts talking, lip-syncing all of Ripster's words. It's really weird. I remember seeing this as a kid, and, like, I didn't really know too much about animation errors. Like, is usually in cartoons that, like, I watch, they were fairly, like, decently made cartoons. I rarely saw anything like that. Like, that was really weird. There were a few times in, like, different cartoons where, like, a character's voice would change, and I would think, huh, that's weird. I wonder what that was all about. But as a little kid, I didn't really think about it. I didn't really know anything about how a cartoon was made. Now I know that, okay, the reason that happened was because these cartoons were being made very quickly by people who probably didn't know the context of what was going on. It might not even have been, like, animated by someone who knew English. So it's possible they didn't know that, like, once, or possibly it was done by two different animators. Someone was supposed to animate Ripster, and then once he's off screen, whoever did Streaks, they had the audio for Ripster and thought, oh, I'm supposed to lip sync this guy who's in the center of the screen to this dialogue, because they probably, I don't know, either didn't know or didn't care about it. So it's an interesting thing, but yeah, whatever. Back to, like, the actual plot synopsis. Ripster talks to Benz, and blah blah blah. Okay. Then we cut to Paradigm. Paradigm has designed a helmet to control Slamu, and it reminds me of the Ren and Stimpy episode where Stimpy makes a happy helmet and forces Ren to wear it, and so that he'll be happy. And he goes crazy because he doesn't like being happy. Whatever. So then the Sharks go to him, and the Sharks go to save him, and the helmet thing accomplishes nothing. Paradigm, he lets Slamu out and says, "Go, attack your brothers!" And then Ripster says, oh, was it? I can't remember what he says. "It's only his mind against yours." And Slamu's like, "Oh, alright. Alright." Makes me think of that Mystery Science Theater joke. That was a great scene. Because that's... yeah, it's a plot point that goes freaking nowhere. I don't know why they did it. Like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. It's just weird that they bothered having that at all. It seems like Paradigm having captured Slamu, then the Sharks come and, like, rescue him. That should have been a plot enough, but whatever. Okay. So then the Sharks, they leave the rehabilitation center prison thing, and then they're with Lena, and they're analyzing the water they got, and turns out there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Okay. So I guess Paradigm hasn't poisoned the water yet? Or maybe... I don't know what's going on. So yeah, it's a really good episode. Let's see. Well, my notes jumped around there for a minute. Anyway, the sharks are trying their best to appear as good citizens, aside from ripping the road up. Like, they have the vehicles now. Why don't they use them? I don't know, because we parked them way over there, and we can't just walk. We gotta Bugs Bunny our way through the road. So then, let's see, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, the scene where Slamu rescues the janitor from the department store. When he brings him out, the police officer has a smile on his face, and it looks like he's starting to come around to believing the street sharks are actually good guys. And when Paradigm says he's going to take him to his rehabilitation center, the police officer is like visually shocked, like surprised police officer face. And this episode is also the beginning of the end of the Street Sharks calling Paradigm by his real name. From here on out, almost exclusively, he's Paranoid now. Like, every time he's talked about at all, it's Paranoid. At the very beginning, Ripster calls him Dr. Paranoid, but then after that, every single time, it's Paranoid. Oh, and also, the Street Sharks vocabulary is being developed here. We get like all their like well-known catchphrases like Jawsome, Shark Dive, Shark Attack, Fantastic. And so yeah, really good episode. Oh, and then there's a funny thing. The voice actor for Jab is also the voice actor for let's see, Ed with one D from Ed, Edd n Eddy. And once in a while you can kind of hear Ed's voice coming through Jab. Or you can hear Jab's voice in Ed, depending on your point of view. Whatever. Anyway, I love the episode. This was a good one. Hope you enjoyed it. See ya.